and give her the floor so that she can go on and introduce herself, then go into the core part of the training. Welcome, Dr. Heba. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadim, for your presentation. Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. It is my pleasure to be here. I will present the medical device quality management system and regulatory framework awareness training. My name is Heba Saad from Egyptian Organization for Standardization and Quality. My background is PhD in molecular biology and genetics and master degree in biochemistry. I am a convener for several working groups in African Organization for Standardization in a medical sector. The objective of our training, the main objective is to offer platform to discuss the current status of medical device industry in Africa, its challenges, and the current initiatives that being undertaken to facilitate productivity, manufacturing, and trade. Also to facilitate understanding the role of standard conformity assessment and regulatory authority and why common regulatory framework and harmonized standard is important. Also, awareness about the quality management system and regulatory framework for the medical device. One of our objectives in this training is also understanding the challenges of the medical device industry and trade. And we also need to understanding the different initiatives that being undertaken to address the challenges and improving the African standardization. And the last one, to motivate government, policymaker, national standardized body, and the private sector to support these initiatives that improve productivity and trade in medical device. The content of the presentation is the philosophy of solve African problem. Also, we recognize the regulatory pathway to facilitate trade. Also, we highlight the harmonization of a standard of pharmaceutical product and medical device in Africa. And it is important to highlight the conformity assessment element for medical device. One of this element is ISO 13485. We go through a quick overview and defines the ARSO guidelines that support its implementation. And the last point is realistic experience of selling in the international and African market due to ISO 13485 certificate. The first point, which is the philosophy to solve the African problem. As we saw in the COVID-19, which saw the weakness point in the country. And at this time, the local production facility can fill long-term gap. So we should have learned the lesson and know the solution for that is boosting local manufacturing. For boosting local manufacturing require implementing a set of complementary initiatives and by engagement all key stakeholders developing the sector strategy can result in quick. Also the regulatory challenges has issue in Africa and in African medical device industry and pharmaceutical. So the local production and medical device regulation have the same priority because scoping initiative have identified the benefit of that, like ensuring the quality and avoid stock out and supporting local incomes and jobs. Also triggers the technology spillover and also helping the sustainability of government medical schemes. So what is the regulatory pathway to facilitate trade? The right pathway is reliance and recognition, cooperation, and mutual recognition. Reliance is the acceptance of regulatory decision from separate regulatory authority and recognition adoption of regulatory decision by another. Then mutual recognition is a recognition in the regulatory decision within a framework. So what is the role of the standard in this pathway? Many regulatory authority need, especially in the sector of the medical device and pharmaceutical, ask, we are the regulator, we have the right to do the regulation. So why we issue the standard? The standard is the measure which used to determine compliance with the regulatory requirement. For example, if the regulatory requirement asks to the manufacturer have a quality system, so what is the measure to assessment this quality system? This is by the use of a standard, and also requirements such post-market surveillance. One of the requirements for the conformity assessment requirement is post-market surveillance. So how assess the post-market surveillance? It's against a standard. So the standard have a crucial role in the regulation pathway. Some African countries, the availability of the essential medical product is potentially delayed due to difference in legal provision, regulatory function, such as standard, technical regulation, conformity assessment, and this creates the need for the regulatory oversight and policy framework and regulatory conversion towards a common continental regulatory framework leading by several initiatives. One of them is harmonizing standards of pharmaceutical product and medical device in Africa. It is a crucial first step in facilitating local production and trade within the sector, as the standard will provide a necessary baseline for which the regulator of the sector. The harmonization work is being done through different ARSO technical committee with experts from ARSO member states. Among others is ARSO TC 74 in healthcare services and TC 78 in medical device and TC 80 in pharmaceutical and medicine product and TC 82 for African traditional medicine, and last one is ARSO CACO subcommittee technical regulation working group 5. It is important to know the conformity assessment element for medical device because it is common in that conformity assessment for medical device, it is only the quality management system. But the element of conformity assessment medical device are 5 elements, which is quality management system and post-market surveillance and technical documentation. And number 4 is declaration of conformity. And the last one is registration of manufacturing and their medical device by the regulatory authority. All 5 elements are required for each of the device classes, but there is flexibility in the manner of their application for a particular medical device according to risk management. We took one element of this and go through it, which is the quality management system. The quality management system for the medical device is ISO 13485. So what is ISO 13485? ISO 13485 is a quality management system standard issued by National Standard Organization. It is similar to 9001, but it is a medical device specific quality management system. The standard is designed to ensure that the medical devices are safe and effective under the needs of stakeholders, including patient, healthcare professionals, regulatory authority, and other interested parties. It defines all the requirements needed by manufacturers, suppliers, distributors, and other organizations involved in the medical device industry. It demonstrates that they have robust process and control in process. For the selling of the medical device in international market, many countries requiring that the medical device manufacturer to have a quality management system in operation as a part of their law, like the EU for the purpose of the CE mark and UK for the purpose of the UK CE mark. This consider a part of harmonization regulatory requirement worldwide to make the regulatory burden more easier for the manufacturing. By using ISO 13485, it covers the multiple jurisdiction requirement at the same time. Compliance is demonstrated by having ISO 13485 quality management system certificate by third-party certification body. The structure of ISO 13485, the standard is split into clauses. They are 8 main clauses, which cover scope, normative reference, term and definition, quality management system, quality management responsibility, resource management, product realization, measurement, analysis, and improvement. These clauses are broken down into sub-clauses with requirement for each section. Clauses number 1, 2, and 3 are informative clauses for reader, including scope, normative reference, and definition of words used in standard. Clauses from 4 to 8 discuss what is needed to implement and maintain ISO 13485. So we will start from clause number 4. Clause number 4 contains the general and documentation requirement for the quality management system, including the need for quality manual, medical device file, the control of document, and control of record. By following the document requirement outlined in this clause, ISO 13485, companies can ensure that their quality management system documentation is controlled, up to date, and accessible to all relevant stakeholders. And this helps to ensuring that the quality management system is effective and ensuring the safety and efficiency of medical device. Clause number 5 contains what is required from the top management of organization using ISO 13485 quality management system. It details the management commitment to the system and having a customer-focused approach, and it outlines the importance of having a quality policy and a plan for quality management system. Clause number 4 also contains the need to determine who has responsibility and authority for the system, who represents the top management for the organization, and how the information related to quality management system is communicated internally. And this figure illustrates the management responsibility, which is management commitment, customer focus, and quality policy. Number 4 is quality objective and the quality management planning. Number 5 is responsibilities and communication. And the last one is management review. Clause number 6 focus on the resource management. It is focus the provision of resource, which is a crucial aspect for effective quality management system. The purpose of this clause to ensuring that the organization has the necessary resource to establish, implement, maintain, and improve quality management system. The standard requiring that the organization determine and provide the resource necessary for establishment, implementing, maintenance, and continual improver for the quality management system. So how the organization provides that? It done by ensuring that all personnel have necessary competence and training to perform their assigned duties, and the infrastructure is in place to support the quality management system, and the necessary equipment is available to carry out the organization process. And number 5, the organization should also ensure that the resources provided are appropriate for the intended use and are available when needed. The last one is the organization monitor and evaluate the adequacy and the effectiveness of its resource and take any necessary action to improve availability or sustainability. Clause number 7 focus on the product realization. From start planning to product realization to customer-related process, design and development, and purchasing, production, and service provision. By following the requirement outlined in these clauses, company can establish a robust procedure ensuring proper verification and control, enabling traceability, and maintain record to consistent production and delivery for safe and effective medical device. Compliance with this clause not only pronounces patient safety, but also help organization maintain their reputation needs, regulatory requirement, and enhance customer satisfaction in highly regulated field of medical device manufacturing and service. Lastly, clause number 7 focus on the control of monitoring and measuring equipment. ISO 13485 standard emphasize the importance of controlling, monitoring, and measuring equipment in the medical device industry. By following the requirement outlined in this clause, organizers can ensure the accuracy, reliability, and traceability of measurement and monitoring process. Clause number 5, it's all about measurement, analysis, and improvement. It details the requirement for feedback, complaint handling, reporting to regulatory authority, internal audit, monitoring and measurement of process, and monitoring and measurement of product, and control of non-conforming product, and the analysis of data and improvement for corrective action and preventive action. By complying with the requirement of clause number 8, organization can establish effective process for monitoring, measurement, analysis, and evaluation within their quality management system. This part about the role of ARSO deliverables in supporting implementing ISO 13485. The problem in ISO 13485 not is the awareness by the clauses of the standard, but how to implement this standard. And in this point, ARSO have many guidelines that support that. One of them is guideline for regulation and conformity assessment for medical device, and the other one for the in vitro diagnostic medical device. This guideline helps the manufacturing identifying the requirement for conformity assessment of product according to risk classes. It is also helps the regulatory body and conformity assessment body in choosing the appropriate system to evaluate the medical device product according to risk classes. Another very important guidelines, which guidelines for development summary technical documentation for demonstrating conformity to is the essential principle for safety and performance. Also one for IVD and the another one for medical device. This document applied to all the products that fall within the definition of IVD and medical device. The importance of this document is to provide guidance on the content of the summary for technical documentation required to the technical file for the IVD and also for medical device to be assessed and submitted for the regulatory authority and conformity assessment for pre-market or for post-market assessment to assess the continuity of conformity for the essential principles. The last point with the realistic experience of selling in the international and the African market due to ISO 13485 certificate, and this part my colleague Dr. Ahmed will present it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Heba. I think, yes, you are so fast. Maybe you are running with time. Yes. The interpreter was telling me to slow down, but now it is okay. We will share these slides with our participants so that they can read and get interest in looking for these standards. I think you were going so that your colleague can join us and explain. Maybe the questions you type them or you write them, we will ask them after he has finished. Maybe you can have a question which is not now going to be talked about by Ahmed. I think I can welcome Ahmed, who maybe will tell us how to implement these standards on the manufacturer point of view. And he will tell us who is supposed to implement these standards and how we can get these standards, what are the challenges, the opportunities that are there in Africa. Stop.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ahmed Khalid Alian. I am Managing Director at Spectrum Diagnostics Egypt. We are a manufacturer of in vitro diagnostic reagents. I have a degree in pharmacy and master's degree in analytical biochemistry and master's of business administration. Today, I will put the light on some applications regarding ISO 13485 from manufacturer point of view. My colleague, Dr. Heba, discussed the standard from point of view of standardization and on point of view for a technical point of view, which is very, very important. Now I will discuss it from another view or from another direction, which is the manufacturer point of view and how to apply it and how to benefit from its application. So in this presentation, I will talk about overview about our company, but it will not take more than 1 minute because it's not our scope. And then I will shed the light on classification of medical device and classification of in vitro diagnostics according to the Global Harmonization Task Force and according to the CE regulations. And then we will talk about opportunities and challenges facing African manufacturers. And this point is very, very important to discuss what are our opportunities as African people and what are the challenges facing us. And then we will implement these points by the benefits of implementation of ISO 13485 and other regulatory standards. Then point number 6, we will shed the light on some legal and regulatory framework requirements for the manufacturing and distribution of medical devices. And then the most important point of my presentation is why African countries need reference country. And I will discuss it in details when we go to this point. Why as an Egyptian or Kenyan or Rwandan competent authority, why do they need CE mark for distribution of medical devices? For me, this is a very important point that we should discuss and should put some suggestions how to prevent this issue. And finally, we'll talk about risk assessment or risk management and post-market surveillance. Okay, quickly, I will talk about our company. We are manufacturers of in vitro diagnostics since 2003. We are CE certified and registered, and our factory is ISO 13485 registered. We are the main supplier of the Egyptian authority. We have a big range of products, including clinical chemistry, latex reagents, blood grouping, rapid tests, and bacteriology. We have a vision to position ourselves as the leading IVD manufacturer in Middle East and Africa. And here I will stop my own personal vision or aim, not only our company, but all the African manufacturers should position themselves in a higher or in a better place than we are now. We have many capabilities, we have many experts in different fields. So why not all of us have this vision to position ourselves as the leading manufacturers in the world? This is very important to have this vision. And then the mission of the company is to provide practitioners with IVD solutions. We have 2 facilities in Egypt, one in Cairo and one in Ismailia. Our products are ISO 13480. The factory is ISO 13485 certified, and products are CE registered. And then this is our market. We have a great market share in different countries, especially Africa and Middle East. Okay, first I will talk in the classification of medical devices. Medical devices are divided into 4 different classes: Class 1, Class 2A, Class 2B, and Class 3. This classification is based on the intended purpose of the device stated by the manufacturer and the risk. Of course, as you go upward in the classification, the risk increases and the amount of technical documentation and requirements increases. There are 22 rules for classification of medical devices, including invasive, non-invasive, and active medical devices. Most Class A devices does not need the involvement of European notified bodies, so it's self-certification, except some sterile devices, some measuring devices, and some reusable instruments. Class 2A, Class 2B, and Class 3, they need the involvement of medical device, of notified bodies. And as I told you, as the class is higher, which is the highest class is Class 3, the technical requirements and the technical documentation and the certification is more difficult and more complex. These are some examples of medical devices classification. For example, Class 1, the eye occlusion plasters, the wheelchairs, and magnets for removable of ocular debris. We have Class 2A products, some channels in active drug delivery systems, some single-use scalpels, single-use bleeds, and surgical swaps. We have Class 2B, urethral stents and corrective contact lens and insulin pens, and Class 3, which is the highest class, absorbers, sutures, implementer, stimulators. The next point is classification of in vitro diagnostics, which is actually my point of expert. In vitro diagnostics, which are used for diagnosis of several different diseases, are classified different somehow from medical devices. They are Class A, B, C, and D. There are 7 classification rules for IVD. Class A, which is the lowest risk, doesn't involve notified body, while B, C, D requires the involvement of notified bodies. And here's some classification. Class A, dry powder media, buffers, and solution. Class B, some reagents such as magnesium detection reagent, CRP, and cholesterol. Class C, glucose test, and some bacteria such as Salmonella typhi and Treponema pallidum. And finally, the highest class, which is a blood grouping reagent, COVID-19 tests, and hepatitis B and C. Here now the most important point of my presentation: opportunities and challenges facing African manufacturers. We should focus on the opportunities we have, and we do have opportunities in Africa, as I will discuss, and of course we have challenges that we must overcome. And as Dr. Heba discussed earlier, in the COVID-19 and different economic and political situations, we find and we discovered that the local manufacturing is the most important point that governments and the African continent should focus on. We should focus on local manufacturing and exporting rather than importing products. Our first opportunity in Africa that we have a very big African market and we have low shipping costs between the different African countries because of the neighborhood. Also, we have increased local demand in African countries, for example, malaria, different diseases, HIV. So we have increased local demand. We have a lower labor cost compared to Europe and the United States, and lower overheads relative to other manufacturers in the other parts of the world. And we should get benefit from this. There are a very big cultural similarity between African countries, and this should facilitate trade. Why don't we have a possible union between African countries in the aim of facilitating free trade? We should support each other as African countries. North Africa, South Africa, West and East Africa should support each other. We should give priority to the African manufacturer. If we have 2 products with the same quality, we should, one from Africa and one from Europe, we should give the priority to the African product. And this is what is done in Europe and the United States. A European manufacturer is supported by all the other European countries. A United States manufacturer is supported by all other United States products. Why don't we have joint ventures and collaboration between the different African manufacturers? So we have different opportunities. But of course, on the other side, we have challenges that we can overcome, but they are challenges. We have a lack of local supply chain. We do not have many raw materials. We have in several countries in Africa, local political and economic instability, which is affecting manufacturers. We have limited infrastructure in some countries and financial resources. And unfortunately, till now, there is high reputation for the imported products from Europe and the United States. So how implementation of ISO 13485 and other regulatory standards can overcome these challenges and can take these opportunities? ISO 13485 implementation increases the product quality and safety. It provides easier planning for resources, and accordingly, you can improve your supply chain. You can plan for your required material and buy them in advance or buy them in different months throughout the year, so it eases the process for planning of resources. ISO 13485 helps with compliance with different regulatory requirements and increases the chance for export. It's like a gateway for different countries, and it helps you to be recognized as a big manufacturer, as a competent manufacturer. There's a problem in ISO 13485 increases customer satisfaction if correctly implemented and increases the market differentiation. And of course, it leads to improved efficiency and cost reduction. If you have an ISO 13485 culture in your company, so you are always seeking continuous improvement and risk management. And here we can have higher reputation for African manufactured products. The next point is the legal and regulatory framework for manufacturing, marketing, and distribution of medical devices. Many countries worldwide, including Africa, their competent authorities need ISO 13485 certificate, free sale certificate from a reference country, and I will return to this point. This is again the most important point in my presentation. Why do we need a free sale certificate from a reference country? I am selling in Kenya, for example, in Rwanda, in Egypt, in Algeria. The competent authority there to ensure that my product is good requires CE certificate. And for me, this is really nonsense. Why an African manufacturer selling to another African country and the other African country is needing a CE certificate that is issued by European countries? So the fees of certification goes to the European country. The credit goes to the European country. Why don't we have our own competent authorities having their own regulations, having their own reference laboratories, having their own experts, and so on? The third requirement is free sale certificate from the country of origins or from the country of manufacturing, and then declaration of conformity, technical file, post-market surveillance, risk assessment, instructions for use, and labeling and packaging. And again, why free sale certificate from a reference country? Actually, from the personal basis, when I sell to an African country and they ask for a CE certificate, I personally feel frustrated. The European countries are helping each other and we are supporting them. So I have other suggestions for the African countries. Why don't we have our African regulations supported by the ARSO standard, supported by the 54 African competent authorities, and supported by experts? Personally, I know about 7 or 8 experts in medical devices who are working for European notified bodies. So this means that we have our own experts. So why don't we exchange our experience with each other? Why don't we give, again, privilege for local African manufacturers and exchange this experience and information between the different experts for the aim of privileging Africa and giving priority to Africa and giving support to Africa, and stepwise, day by day and month by month, we can have our own full framework for regulations. This is very important. If we always depend on CE certificate, there will be no progress in the African standards. There will be no progress in the African regulations, and we will be always dependent on them. So I don't see any sense in this point. I keep stressing on this point as it is a very, very important point. I personally facing it as a local African manufacturer. The next point is somehow technical. I will quickly pass through the risk management, which is ISO 14971. It is part of ISO 13485, but it has its own standard. The idea of risk management is that for each product, you should have a risk analysis. You should identify possible hazards for your products or potential hazards for your product, their severity, and their probability. Each hazard should have a severity level and probability level. And then you should evaluate, after analyzing, you should evaluate this risk, each different risk, and control this risk by implementing of risk control measures. You should have your own procedure, your own forms, your own quality requirements to reduce this risk. And after reducing the risk, there should be a risk benefit analysis based on residual risk. Of course, there will be a residual risk. So you should make an analysis for the benefit of the product and the risk or the residual risk, and see if the benefit outweighs the risk. You evaluate. If the benefit outweighs risk, you will go on with the product to the market. If otherwise the risk is higher than the benefit, so it will make no sense to put it in the market. And finally, you make this review and continue with the process of risk assessment throughout the life cycle of the product and throughout the market. You can take an input for risk assessment from the market. Any problem, any complaint, you should re-include it in the risk assessment, and so on. The final part of the presentation is post-market surveillance, ISO TR 20416. It's a new standard, I think in 2022, as I remember. You should have at first a post-market surveillance plan, which aim to ensure that the product perform as specified and claimed in the instruction for use. This plan should identify any option or requirements to improve usability, performance, and safety of the product. Any new risk associated from the product can be taken from the post-market surveillance. This should determine any need for corrective or preventive action and to ensure effectiveness of design, development, labeling, and instruction for use. And finally, evaluate the state of the art. The process of post-market surveillance, it's like you are putting your product to the different stakeholders and asking them for their opinion, their professional opinion. And you should take this very, very seriously, because sometimes internally in your factory or in your organization, you do not see all the defects of your products. So in the market, the customers, the regulatory authorities, other people, other manufacturers can see a defect in your products that you cannot see. After making the post-market surveillance plan, you should collect the data either proactively or reactively. Proactive examples, the questionnaires and surveys to the customers, data from post-market surveillance follow-up, scientific literature review about similar products or new products. And then you have some reactive data collection, such as complaints, feedbacks, and new regulatory standards. After collection of data, it should be analyzed either qualitatively or quantitatively, depending on the source of the data and the types of information provided. And finally, include all this information in a post-market surveillance report that serves as an input for your design file and risk management file. It is my pleasure meeting you today, and thank you very much for hearing me. And of course, if you need any questions, we are welcome to serve you, me and Dr. Heba. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. Now you can stay here. You can stay here. Should we also stay there? Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I can give my place to Dr. Heba so that you can come and be able to respond to some questions together with Ahmed. Thank you very much for listening. And thank you very much once again, Dr. Heba and Ahmed, for wonderful presentation. And I've seen that your presentations, both of them, have have a link, they are somehow linked. So what you've done on the requirements of the standards and how the ASO guidelines helping the manufacturers to implement the standards, and now the manufacturer has told us the opportunities and how what are the challenges that they face in implementing that. So this is really amazing. I can open the chat to see the questions. But if there are questions here in the room, no questions so far, but I have few questions maybe to ask you. Sometimes I have seen that we have people who are not in the sector, they would like to, I'm putting myself in their shoes and also I'm there. I would like to know who exactly is supposed to comply with these standards. We may think that it is for the big manufacturers. Is it also for the small manufacturers or for the wholesalers, those who are buying and selling, or who is supposed to apply this standard? And yeah, thank you. And also after this, how can they access these standards? And you will now tell us on there is something that you've highlighted on the challenges of a requirement which should not, according to you, should not be there when you are selling to African countries, having a CE mark. Maybe the audience can also compliment you, but you will tell us more on your suggestion. You highlighted it during the presentation, and maybe we will get, yeah.
Okay, I will respond for the first part about who should implement this standard. As we presented in the conformity assessment element for medical device, one of them is the quality management system, and this should apply for all the manufacturer of medical device and IVD. As it is a main part for the conformity assessment for the medical device. So all manufacturers should apply this standard. It is not a mandatory standard, but it is one of the requirement is a quality management system. Maybe apply a quality management system 9001 and fill the gap in the 9001 by the requirement in 13485. All the manufacturers should apply this standard. And the next part.
Yes, in the first part as well, I want to add something about in this part. Of course, all manufacturers should implement ISO 13485, as Dr. Heba said, but there is no obligation to on the amount of documents needed. For example, if you are a manufacturer of 2,000 or 3,000 employees, you will not implement the documents as another manufacturer with 10 or 20 or 30 employees. So the 30 employees can have only 10 or 15 procedure implementing the whole standard, and the other companies can have thousands of documents. So this is a very important point. Each company should implement it based on its resources. The second question is very important. My objection or my comment is, I will take example Egypt. If I am a manufacturer from Africa, I want to sell in Egypt, they will ask for a certificate of CE registration. And here comes my point. Personally, I see that why don't we have our own internal standards in each country or on overall Africa? For example, if a Kenyan manufacturer wants to sell in Egypt, okay, why should you have CE mark? Why don't we as an Egyptian competent authority tell them X and Y and Z and is required to register your product? Please send me the following documents. Please send me the following studies. Please send me your risk assessment. Please send me your post-market surveillance, your technical documentation. And then as an Egyptian competent authorities, I will assess the documents and I will assess the product and see if it's complying with our regulations. This example can be applied on all the 54 African countries. And if a country is still not well established as a regulatory authority, why can't they take help from other African countries? For example, if Egypt is is performing well in the regulatory or has their own strong regulatory infrastructure or competent authority is the Egyptian Drug Authority, another country in Africa, X country who is still not well developed can have exchange of information and exchange of experts and exchange of experience with the Egyptian authorities or with the Egyptian regulatory authorities. And then we can help each other until all African countries are strong enough from the regulatory point of view. This is important because now the CE registration and the FDA registration has become partially a business. They are very, very expensive now, and the notified bodies are asking for a huge amount of money. And this is implemented in that the manufacturers increase their price, and this will be reflected in the prices of the product in the African content in the African markets. And this is why I'm saying, if I want to sell in Africa and I do not want to sell in Europe, I will not apply for the CE mark. I have all the required technical documentation, all the required regulatory requirements, but I will not apply for the CE mark because it's expensive and I do not need it. So I will save a lot of money and I can sell the product with high quality and lower prices. And then now I have an edge on the non-African manufacturers. I hope now it's clear for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentations. They are really very good. Yeah. What you are saying is not only on medical devices issues. It's in food issues. It's in construction materials. And we can go on with the list. When you look at when you look at what you really said and presented on post-market surveillance, being proactive or reactive, those reports, they are important reports that should create trust when we are trading, actually not with 54 countries, with 55 countries for African Union. But we need to focus more on what Habayu presented also on mutual recognition agreement. Other continents are using more the mutual recognition agreements more than we use that. The other thing we tend to forget easily during the COVID time, at least the category class 1 medical devices were being accepted within African countries without requesting those certificates. Then now post-COVID, we start again going back to request those certificates. I think they are lesson learned. The report, especially on post-market surveillance, are very important. We need to have these discussions. We need our governments to understand, but we need specifically to be driven by you, the private sector. If you, the private sector, I know that I participated in one discussion during actually this week in Nairobi on medical devices regional association, where you need to push more as private sector also the discussion with our governments, our different governments, and move toward the mutual recognition agreement. If we don't do that, as you said, it's a multi-billion industry on quality assurance, is a huge market, and we are losing out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Another question?
Thank you for your presentations. I want to ask about why we don't use our advantage from the many agreements like COMESA agreements and other agreements for African countries that will help to give all the countries over the African countries to be in and out its products between the every one of them. That we and I ask about if the medical device also is under the umbrella of COMESA agreements products which have the advantage in these agreements or not. Thank you.
Are you able to respond on the COMESA? Are you able to respond to the current agreements?
You're not sure. I'm not sure, but if it under the umbrella, it is by default the manufacturer can respond. Yes.
Actually, to be honest, I am not sure 100% if medical devices are included in the COMESA agreement. But here you raised another important point, is lack of knowledge sharing within our African continent. This is very important. I believe that we have an issue related to sharing of knowledge. There are different agreements, there are different ARSO standards, there are different work done and hard work done and very good work done, but it's not transferred to different stakeholders. I think this is one of our great challenges and problems in Africa that we should focus on, how to share our knowledge within our continent. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadine. Thank you, colleagues, for your wonderful presentations. And we have learned a lot from what you've just shared. And even the discussion going on now just shows the value of what you've put on the table. I think when the colleague was talking about other agreements that we already have on the continent, you are raising a very pertinent point. And the question is, why are we not using them to our advantage? I mean, we've spent a lot of effort and time and money and resources to have these agreements in place, but they're not benefiting our private sector. They're not benefiting our countries. And I believe this will just have to be a continuing battle. But as my colleague here mentioned earlier, I think one of the most important things we need, to be honest, is pressure from the private sector. At the end of the day, the governments who put signatures to these agreements are not traders themselves. So if the business sector does not make a push, there will be no reaction. And Ahmed, I really like the fact how you highlighted the issue of, for example, a requirement to seek external endorsement of a product that is being traded between two African countries. It's absurd. It's totally absurd. But I would like to encourage you, especially through any associations, any business associations that you might have at national level, perhaps even at regional level through COMESA. I know COMESA is a COMESA Business Council. To please engage with these RECs, with these associations, so that they can engage. I'm from the Africa Union. They can engage with us, and through us probably with the AFCFTA, which is the, if you like, the African Continental Free Trade Arrangement. Because if we don't do that, then we will be facing unnecessary competition with external players, and they'll be benefiting at our expense, yet the capacity and the ability to meet market requirements is already here in our own companies. So I hope that this conversation will carry on from here, and that we will actually engage a bit more effectively with especially the business sector associations. It's very difficult to work on a company to AU level, but if you come as an association or as a regional collective, you'll be listened to a little bit more easily and readily. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oswald. We have two questions from the online participation. One is on accreditation, and our colleague from the accreditation side is coming shortly. So the other question is to the panelists and to the trainers. Are medical devices in Africa, in African countries, enough to satisfy the African market? Because sometimes buyers choose where they can have a full package. Maybe you can this is the one I was reading. If the production at the continent is enough.
Actually, to be honest, not all products, of course, not all medical devices are produced in Egypt, in Africa. Egypt is the highest manufacturer of medical devices and IVDs in Egypt. So we have a big range of products manufactured here in Egypt. And there are some other African manufacturers also in some medical devices. However, to be honest, not the full range of medical devices are covered in Africa. However, why don't we start by what we produce? And once we can start by what we produce, once we can exchange what we can produce, what we already produce, it's much more easier to manufacture new products than when you have a factory, when you have the industry, rather than beginning from scratch. So we already have the industry, we already have the factories. So it will be easy to increase our range. It is not difficult at all because we have the machines, we have the knowledge, we have the human resources. So to answer this question, still not all medical devices are manufactured in Africa. However, we have a good range of products. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It means that whatever we have, we should buy it. Thank you. Yeah, now on the questions. The first question on accreditation, it was saying how can African countries facilitate accreditation among themselves? Because for mutual facilitation, sometimes we see that region economic communities do not want to collaborate. Yeah.
Good afternoon. I am Mohammed Hassan. I'm representing AFRAC. I am the Accreditation Director of the Egyptian Accreditation Council, EJAC of Egypt. About this question, I want to clarify and emphasize some things. First of all, the accreditation good point is to be recognized. The accreditation should be accompanied by international recognition of ILAC and IAF. Without this recognition, accreditation will not be good enough. So, for this reason, AFRAC was established to be the regional accreditation body of Africa. AFRAC represents ILAC and IAF, and it could be recognized in many accreditation scopes like testing, calibration, product certification, management system certification, person certifications, and others. The mutual recognition between two countries, this is different approach. This requires to harmonize the technical regulations between two countries to accept the conformity assessment results between the two countries. But accreditation is a general approach between about almost 192 countries in the world. They accept the conformity assessment results through accreditation. When a conformity assessment body, and let's take an example as a testing laboratory, if this testing laboratory is accredited with recognition from ILAC according to the requirements of ISO standard 17025 for testing laboratories, this means that all results of this conformity assessment body will be accepted all over the world. But if if we changed the technical regulation, or we decided to accept the results between two countries only, this will not be helpful for the inter-African trade. But through accreditation, with international recognition, this will be with benefit for all African countries, for all African products. AFRAC now is recognized, as I said, in many scopes of accreditation. Many accreditation bodies are recognized from AFRAC. I think the number of conformity assessment bodies were granted accreditation in the continent are increasing day by day. So I think now we are on a solid ground in the scope of acceptance of conformity assessment results and reports. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed. Any other question? Intervention?
Yes. My name is Omnia Sabri. I'm the Executive Secretary of the African Electrotechnical Standardization Commission in Egypt, based in Egypt. Just an observation, I'd like to highlight that our commission have published a electromagnetic compatibility for medical devices. So we study all the electromagnetic effect coming from medical devices on the human being. So I don't have the details because there are specialists who did this guide. So we already have this guide, and this is published with support with PTB. And it is available on the website, and I can give you our website and my card just to have an idea about this. It is very important to know what's the electromagnetic effect on the human being from the medical devices. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Omne, and thank you very much for those who have contributed. I can maybe give the floor to Mr. Ruben, the Technical Director ARSO, to complement Dr. Heba on the ARSO initiatives on the regulatory guidelines.
Thank you very much, and congratulations, I think, in order for the good presentations that you've done. And I think the emphasis that I would like to put on is on the guidelines that Heba mentioned, which they are working on, because she's an expert in that sector. And she is currently participating in the committees which are elaborating the guidelines. The idea of doing the guidelines essentially is to ensure that we interpret the standards in a manner that makes it possible for us as Africa countries to understand and elaborate in a practical sense the understanding that should be there for implementing those standards, the international standards. So they make it easier for our countries to utilize the standards by way of simplifying the information or elaborating or articulating that information much better. What that means is that you find the compliance to the standards being made more easier, and the countries interpreting the standards in a uniform way. Now, the point of doing that, if you look at the COVID pandemic duration, is that it accelerates the way we implement the standards. It also accelerates the way that our people can interpret and utilize those standards without requiring external intervention. And for that matter, the guidelines continue to be prepared in that direction to ensure that we do not find difficulties in interpreting, or we do not come up with varying interpretations at the national level and having all those 55 member states having their own types of interpretations. So those are just a few of the guidelines that the experts have done, and there are more that they are doing, including, of course, establishing emergency hospitals for purposes of responding to emergencies, and also looking at issues of even procurement, pooling procurement for countries that may be too small to get access to medical supplies or equipment suppliers from manufacturers. So we continue with that approach, and I think we would like to see more participation of the private sector in those committees. They are open, particularly at the working group level, to ensure that we can do that. And yes, the aspect of mutual recognition, it's actually open, even in the COMESA Treaty. The trading in pharmaceutical and medical devices is part of the treaty. And it is, I think they have had quite a number of forums to emphasize on that, but perhaps it doesn't come and reach the private sector or the manufacturers themselves. So I think they have had forums where they do that. What we can do is whenever there are those events, we need to invite or spread out the information to our stakeholders so that they can get that understanding. Now, the emphasis we have put, especially having this particular session, is also the fact that pharmaceuticals and medical devices are part of the priorities of the FCFTA. So we are moving away from the traditional approach of thinking that medical devices and medicines are not commercial items, to the fact that these are actually commercial items which serve a very important sector, and therefore we need that particular aspect of having a quality infrastructure which addresses the needs of this continent, so that we're able to manufacture in volumes and quantities that satisfy the continent's needs. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gisore, the Technical Director ARSO. I can give the mic to the SG.
I want to ask a question. When you are a manufacturer, you work for the manufacturer of this IVD. What are your challenges looking at trademarks on intellectual property in general? Trademarks, your own innovation, and if I understand you are on the side of science, yes, but if you look at what the volume of what you are manufacturing, what would be the percentage roughly of what you produce by maybe buying trademarks from other major companies versus your own innovation? Do you have any view on that or any challenge on that?
Actually, our type of products are a bit different because our products have similar products present in the market. It's like a formula. So it's not a pharmaceutical product. It's not a standardized product. It's a formula that different manufacturers aim to test, for example, glucose reagent in blood. However, each manufacturer has his own formula. I can say the scientific background is the same. The scientific idea or method is the same. However, it differs from one manufacturer to the other. The surfactants used, the buffers used, the stabilizers used. So here is the difference. So we do not have intellectual property for these products, and no manufacturer, neither Roche, neither Abbott, no big or small manufacturer have the intellectual rights. It's different from one company to the other, the formula used. But there is an important point here that African manufacturers can buy technology transfer from other manufacturers. For example, rapid tests, we do not fully manufacture them in Egypt. So why don't we take technology transfer from for example, Chinese companies or American companies to sell this product inside Africa, to fully manufacture them inside Africa and sell them 100% inside Africa as an African product. This would be important.
Exactly. That was the point, linking to one of the question online, saying that they need a full package. Yeah, we can still do that. You can be manufacturing one part, but it doesn't stop us even to extend the market. And we can also look into comparative advantage. Well, what Egypt can do, what Kenya can do, what South Africa can do. Thank you.
Yeah, we have another question.
This is my last question. Sorry. You said in your presentation that we have at the manufacturer a lack of raw material. What's your plan in these points, and what's your recommendation for the other manufacturer in these points? Thank you.
This point is very, very important because actually this is the case in Egypt and in Africa. Many raw materials are not manufactured, and it has a certain technology that isn't available in our country. For example, I will talk about my products. The enzymes, the raw materials, which are enzymes and stabilizers, they are not present in Egypt, and few companies worldwide do manufacture these products. So it's a very important point. Because if you do not have raw material, you will not produce and you will not sell. The factory is stopped. So here comes the importance of ISO 13485 implementation, which is planning. You should do a yearly forecast for your requirements of raw material based on the sales department, based on the warehouse department, based on the production. These three different departments and the purchasing, of course, department, these four departments should collaborate with each other at the end of each year to make a yearly forecast of the requirements of raw materials. And then we should qualify different suppliers as much as we can. You should not depend on only one supplier. You should qualify according also to the ISO 13485 different suppliers for each raw material, 2 or 3 suppliers. And you have alternatives. You choose one supplier as the main supplier, but you also have alternative for other suppliers. So planning is very, very important, forecasting and planning, and having different sources for the same raw material.
Thank you very much. I can give the floor to Catherine B2B.
Thank you. Actually, first of all, thank you very much for the presentations. I think it's very enlightening also to see more than one perspective. So I think that was very nicely done and learned a lot. Also, I see that there are a lot of questions and a good discussion, which is very encouraging. Maybe for those that don't know, as the PTB Germany is supporting not only at the continental level, but also regional and national level in the area of quality infrastructure. Everything that we see now is important also on this topic. I think some work was already mentioned to, for example, assist in the area of harmonization when it comes to the harmonization of standards. We heard the examples in the pharmaceutical area, but also on the electromagnetic devices. And so this is work ongoing, where we try also to make this technical committees support them in their effectiveness. And then I think, as you mentioned, harmonization is not only needs to be done, but it's also about the technical regulations. I very much like the comment as well that why do we have the agreements? Why can we not, in one of the countries where we have more experience and everything is already set up, try to get a mutual or an acceptance in other countries, at least on the continent. So I think this is something where we also strongly support at the moment to have a kind of mechanism on the continental cooperation as well, because not everything needs to be established well everywhere and we know that it's not at the same pace and not the same speed. Also, there was accreditation mentioned, so there's ongoing support for the for example, for the assessors that need to come, that have to be knowledgeable in the scope of the medical area. So from this end, it was just encouraging to hear that it is an important area where support is still needed, and yeah, to ascertain that we're also going to work on this, let's say, improvement of the framework conditions, and encouraging, as it was also mentioned beforehand, that the private sector is giving a lot of push in that direction. Yeah, so this is actually, I'm very pleased to hear it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine. I think we can now close our session. Is there any other question? Okay.
I don't know who is have the responsibility for this recommendation, but I want to ask ARSO organization to do its best, his best for make any session about to the stakeholders around the countries, African countries, about to show the agreements related to trade facilitation and to use this advantage to facilitate the all technical regulation between all the products related to this field on all other fields or products. I think it is a good points for ARSO, or if you have authority for this, it's good for all the sectors around the countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the recommendation, and this point is taken. If we don't have any other question, I would like us to go through the feedback platform. Then you can now give us a direction on how we access the Mentimeter.
Thank you very much, Nadine. To access the Mentimeter, on the chat box, for the ones accessing online, you'll type menti.com on your browser, and then the passcode for this Mentimeter survey is 54832274. 54832274. In the chat box, we've been able to post this. On your screen, once you log in. Sorry? Okay. So this is the barcode. You'll do menti.com, scan the QR code with your mobile phone, or type on your browser menti.com, enter the code 54832274. 54832274 as the code. Once you log in, I would like to request that you proceed to the next page that will inform you what the survey is all about, the feedback from you. We need to improve our future trainings. Just proceed to the next slide and type in your name. Either one name or two names. We have two names already in. Thank you for the two. For those who have not logged in yet, menti.com, the passcode is 832274. We need your feedback. We only have 2 responses under the name. We have 3 now. 4. Thank you, Obed. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you for those who've proceeded. Thank you. Thank you. We would like to at least have 20 responses. Thank you, Ali. With the 10 responses, we can proceed to the next query. Were the training objectives clearly defined? On the current status of the medical devices industry, the challenges and current initiatives? We had 10 in the previous slide. We had 12. We would like to see at least 12. Thank you for the 7. Make sure you make the survey. It will help us improve the service. We can proceed to the next query. Do you agree or disagree with these statements? If you've already opened, I'll read the first statement. 1 is the pace of the training. 2, and we thank you. I think the train has really moved very fast. We have 100% confirming that the pace of the training was good, and therefore they were able to easily understand what was being said. Was the trainer able to answer all the questions you had? We have 100% confirmation that the presentation was well done. Was the training material distributed? Once again, we repeat and say that we'll be able to share the training materials immediately after this presentation. The training session, was it interactive? We would like to move the 2 who said it's not interactive to the level of the 3 who said that it was very interactive. We had another query on the statements that regulatory challenges have been an issue in the African medical devices and pharmaceutical industry. And we can see most of them are saying, yes, it has been an issue. And this was part of the presentations being shared by the experts. And then we had the final query on our end. Availability of essential medical products is potentially delayed by disparities in legal provisions in key regulatory functions, where you had in brackets standards, conformity assessment, and others. So I think we've had a better understanding during this second presentation. We asked you an interesting question here. On the presentations being shared, we had technical committees being mentioned that exist under medical and devices as per the presentation shared. Maybe the presenter can tell us, how many had you put? Madam Heba, how many had you put as the thesis on your slide? On your slide, you had put the thesis. How many had you put there?
Okay. ARSO TC 74 and 7080 and 80, 82. CACO Technical Regulation Working Group 5 is a 5 committee.
Thank you. And you can see the answers that we got. And you can see the change now. So yeah, at least now they are able to understand that there are 5, not 3. And you can see at least they never made a mistake to say 2. And I think they've increased and made them 6. So maybe there's one. Thank you. So we asked them if after this training, if they have better understanding on medical devices, the quality management systems, regulatory framework, following this awareness training, and they say 100% have been able to fully understand. Finally, how can we improve the training session? I will be able to share the materials once again. I'm happy to hear all is good. By having other sessions throughout the year, we need to do this once again, include scenarios all the time as we do presentations, and finally use more examples for experience in the sector. Thank you very much. I submit my presentation. Thank you. No questions from the audience.
Thank you very much, Dan. And there is no question on your presentation. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Before having a group photo, sorry. Before having a group photo, I would like us to close this session, and I would like to invite Engineer Omnea to close our session of today and tell us more what comes tomorrow. Thank you.
So thank you everyone of sharing our training sessions. I hope that these training sessions will met your needs and your interest. So I'd like to thank you all the presenters and all the attendees that came physically or online. And tomorrow we'll have another session in the early morning at 9, I believe, at 10 a.m. So see you then, and have a good afternoon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Kindly rise and come forward for a group photo, everyone, like we did in the morning. I would like to ask the online participants to put on their cameras for a group photo. A picture. Okay, because we want to capture the, yeah, here and there. Maybe you can click. When? Okay, online colleagues, please put on your camera. Dr. Moses Matovu, Dr. Mohammed, Clementine, Justin, we need your faces. Okay. Omorara, Nathaniel, Beatrice. It's okay. Yeah, their names are there. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow, starting at 10 Cairo time. This will be 11 East African time. Yes, there is one who wants to talk about the time. Yes, tell them. Thank you very much, online participants. Please see you tomorrow at 11 East African time, 11 a.m., 10 a.m. Central African time, and Cairo time. Thank you very much.